welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm actually going to be talking all about the registered dietitian exam. If you are new here, hello and welcome. My name is Becca. I am a registered dietitian and I make lots of videos about nutrition and healthy meal ideas and what I eat in a day, and also some lifestyle videos as well. So if you guys are enjoying my videos, I would love for you to subscribe and stick around. So today's video is a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm going to be talking all about the RD exam and specifically what exactly I did to study to ensure or help me to pass on the very first time that I took it. So now that we are getting close to April, I know a lot of dietetic interns are going to be graduating from their internships soon. So I wanted to make sure I got this video out there for you guys just to help you with any tips, advice that I have, and just everything that I did to study to help you guys on your way and how you study for your upcoming exam. So the very first thing I want to say is take this exam seriously. It is definitely a difficult test. It was more difficult than I anticipated. I was very prepared and I obviously did pass, but it's definitely, it's a difficult test, and not necessarily because the information or, the material is way over our heads. Like obviously we've been at this point when you're taking the exam, you've studied for 5 years, studied nutrition for 5 years. So it's nothing new. It's all stuff that we've learned before. However, the test itself really relies, on your critical thinking. It's not like, okay, you just memorize everything and you'll be just fine. It really is just a difficult test in that a lot of the questions, while I was very prepared and I knew the information, there were so many times where there could have been 2 right answers and I just had to make the best educated guess that I could. Obviously it ended up working out fine, but just know that, it's not a super easy exam that you're just going to breeze through, not by any means. There is a lot of information to cover, a lot of stuff to study and be able to recall information on. But just go in being really confident and just knowing that, if you've gotten to this point, you have developed those critical thinking skills and you can think like a dietitian and that you totally got this. Okay, so now to talk about what I actually used to study and what I found helpful and what I think helped me to pass. The first thing is the Gene Inman review. This is the most popular review. You're probably not surprised that I am saying this. This is what most people use to study for the RD exam because it is just so comprehensive. So with the Inman review, you get, I don't remember if it came with this binder, if I put it in the binder, but I think it came with the binder. I honestly can't remember. But it comes with this huge, you can see like how thick it is with all those papers, and I added tabs just to help me locate everything, but it is just this giant review. It's basically like a huge outline on everything and anything that you need to know. There are 4 domains. There's principles of dietetics, nutrition care for individuals and groups, management of food and nutrition programs and services, and food service systems. So it really is very comprehensive and it does go over everything. So with the Gene Inman review, you get this huge outline, but then you also get a huge list of practice questions, which are helpful, but a lot of people say that word-for-word questions from the Gene Inman review actually showed up on the RD exam, and that was true for me. I had 2 questions, so it was only 2 that I already knew the answer to because I had already practiced it word for word. And I think the most I saw from what blogs that I looked at was someone did have like 10 word-for-word questions from the Inman review on their actual RD exam, which is a lot of questions. I mean, if you already know the answers, that's 10 guaranteed right answers, so that's pretty nice. So with the Gene Inman review, you get the sample questions plus this giant outline with all 4 of the domains. So this review isn't like, this spectacular, amazing, ridiculous review that's going to give you like, every right answer to every question. The thing I think is most amazing about it is pretty much everything that you need to know about for this exam is all in one place. If I didn't have this review and didn't purchase any kind of review like this, I would just be going through all of my undergrad notes, which, I guess I could have done, but I think it just would have been way more cumbersome, and and also some of that information that I learned in undergrad may not necessarily even show up on the exam. So I just really liked that, every possible question I could be asked about on the exam was probably at some point covered in this review, and that just gave me a lot of peace of mind. I definitely did have a couple questions that never, came up in this review whatsoever, but it was just like a handful. Most of the questions, just about all of the questions, and I did just go up to 125, I didn't have to do any additional questions, but all of the questions except for maybe a small handful, had to do with something that was, gone over in this review. So I think that is the best thing, the fact that everything is just in one place and you can just focus on this and not have to worry about, you know, traipsing through tons and tons of undergrad notes or exams or whatever materials you have. So that is definitely the best part about it. It is really expensive. I think it's like $365, or at least it was when I was studying for it, which is a lot of money. I personally think it's a worthy investment just because, I mean, this is the reason that I definitely had all the information I needed in order to pass on the first time, and it just saved me a lot of like sifting through old notes and just made my studying way more efficient and productive. There are definitely some ways you can go around it. I know that some people will sell the reviews on eBay and buy them you can buy them at a discounted rate, which I don't know if that's legal, I doubt it is, but people definitely do it. Another thing that's also not legal, but people definitely do, is I know some of my fellow interns, they all like went in on one review and just made copies, which again, it's probably not legal, but hey, you know, they did it and it worked fine. I didn't do that because I'm just like a scaredy cat, and I know that I would be that one person who would get caught and get like prosecuted because I was like pirating this. I don't even know if that's the term, but you know what I'm saying. So I did not, I did just purchase it because I just wanted to purchase it. But anyway, you can get your hands on this. Even if you borrow it from a friend, or if you even just get the chance to look through it once, I think it's beneficial just because, again, everything that you pretty much need to know is all right here in this one place, which is just very nice. Okay, so as far as what I actually did to study, obviously I used the review, but you may be wondering, how did I use the review? How did I go through it? What were my study techniques? So there were a few different things that I did. The very first thing I did was just go through the review over and over and over again. I think the very first thing when I got it, oh, I don't know if I mentioned this, but it does come with like an audio recording. So you get like, I think it's CDs, yep. You get CDs, they're all in the back here. And these CDs are like the audio recording of her voice. She does have like a funny, cute little accent. So it's her voice and she's just reading through the outline. I'm pretty sure it's like word for word if I remember correctly. But anyway, so the very first thing I did when I got it was I listened to the audio recording while reading through the outline as we went along, completely from front to back of the outline. That was it. I just listened and read along. I didn't take any notes or anything like that. Then I listened to it again, and that time I went through and I was highlighting. So as she was talking, if there was just things that she was just seemed to be pointing out or anything like that, I would go through and I would highlight. So throughout the whole review, you will see that there are like highlighted sections everywhere. So that just helped me, obviously to see maybe what the more important things were, but also just to keep me like attentive, you know, just as I'm going through and just highlighting. And then also you can probably see I wrote like, I don't even know if you can see, but around the highlighted areas I would usually write like little notes. So as you can see here, like heartburn is a major sign, Billroth 2 is more serious, often Helicobacter pylori, like just little notes. So that again just helped me to kind of go through and keep myself attentive and see what was important. And again, it's just that rinse and repeat, just getting that information through your brain over and over and over again just helps you be able to recall it later on. So I think I went through it, maybe like listened and read through it maybe like 4 times, I can't remember, but I mean it takes a while, it's a long review. So I want to say it was 4 times total, maybe 5, I don't even remember, but that was like kind of like the main thing I did with the review. And then there were certain sections of things, you know, that I wanted to memorize, like, and just be able to recall off the bat. So what I did for that was I wrote out, I have a ton of them here, I wrote out a ton of worksheets. This is like a pretty thick stack, as you can see, of worksheets that I made myself. So this was just something that I liked to do in undergrad to help me study, especially for like biochemistry exams, for like nutrition biochemistry and things like that. This was just something that I always did. I'm a visual person. I don't really use flashcards that much. Some people totally love flashcards. If that's your thing, make flashcards. But for me, I just like to write out things like on paper and just see it all in front of me. So for example, on these 2 sheets, these are like my vitamin and mineral sheets. So on here, I just wrote down every single vitamin and mineral and just gave quick bullet points of their major functions, you know, what their function is in the body, and then also like sources where you can find them in food and things like that. So this is just to like have all of those vitamins and minerals memorized, and I know exactly what they do. I don't have to think about it, it's just memorized. And I did these for so many topics. So here I have like management approaches, management theories. I wrote out all of the potential like foodborne illnesses. I made a chart on that. What else do I have? All the government programs, just so many things, medications and their reactions. So that was just another thing that I did. Anything that I thought was important to like really know and not just have read through on an outline a few times, like stuff that I wanted to know back and front, I would make a worksheet on it, and that was just something that really helped me. And then to take it a step further, there was a few things that I wanted to have memorized that just don't really stick in my head very well. The government programs were a huge one. Those were so hard to memorize, and yes, you do need to know them. I definitely got multiple questions on specifically like certain government programs and what they do, which is like, why do we need to know that? We can just Google it, but hey, it's on the exam, you gotta know it. So that was something that I made flashcards on. I also made flashcards on all the foodborne illnesses, because it's one thing to know the foodborne illnesses, what they are, but you have to know like how quickly they take effect in the body, whether it's like 30 minutes or 24 hours or 48 hours, what exactly the symptoms are, like things to look out for. Those were just like hard to memorize, so I made flashcards for those. And I feel like there was one of the things I made flashcards for, but so for a very select group of things that I wanted to know, I did make flashcards on, but mainly it was just going through the review and then making worksheets on things that I just wanted like to be able to recall really easily, and then for the things that really weren't sticking in my head, I then made flashcards. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I did give myself a full month to study. My internship was super long. We didn't finish until mid-July. It was like almost a full year. So I gave myself like 2 weeks off to not think even for a second about any of this stuff, just to give my like mind a break. So I took those 2 weeks, and then at the end of the 2 weeks I started studying for an entire month. So I would study like pretty much Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, something along those lines, and that's what I did. Some people will only study for 2 weeks, some people will study for 2 months. I think it really just depends. I mean, if you're working and studying at the same time, obviously you have much limited time. You can't study like a full-time job like I did, but I was just finishing my internship. I hadn't started applying for jobs yet, so I just threw all of my energy into doing this, which if you can do that, I would definitely recommend it, just because it's so much information, and I can't imagine if I was working 9 to 5 and then coming home to study. I mean, it's just a lot. So if you can avoid going that route, definitely do it, but obviously that's not possible for everyone. Anyway, so once I was finished going through the outline multiple times and going over all my worksheets and memorizing the flashcards, that's when I started to do the questions. So here is a packet of questions that you get with the Inman review. As you can see, it is super thick. I think it's 1,000 questions if I remember correctly. It's a lot of questions, and it's split up by each domain. So obviously when you take the RD exam, it's not split up into domains. Any of the questions could just be pulled from any of those certain areas of knowledge. But it is kind of nice just to have everything split up into their particular domain when you're trying to just review everything and learn it. So, I mean, you're not learning it, this is all stuff that you've learned in undergrad, but just reviewing, I guess. So when it came time for me to start answering the questions and practicing them, I went through and did like one domain at a time. So I would go sit down and I would really focus, and I would answer all the questions in domain 1, and then I would go back and they give you like obviously the answer key for each of the questions, and I would go through and mark off what I got wrong. So I did that for each of the domains, and then I repeated it. So then I went through domain 1, 2, 3, and 4 again, fully focused, answering all the questions. And once I did that twice, I kind of figured like, okay, whatever ones I got right, I've got that on lock. And then from then on, all the questions that I got wrong, I would keep going through and retaking just to make sure, like, because I knew, there was a good chance that some of these questions would show up on the exam. And just for, my ease and also for timing purposes, I wanted, if any question that was on the Gene Inman review came up during the RD exam, I wanted to spend literally 2 seconds on it. I already know the answer, click it, next. I didn't want to mess around. So the questions were definitely super helpful just to, again, work on recalling all that information, because it's a lot of information, it's a lot of stuff to know. So that is everything that I personally did. I felt very prepared going into the exam. Like I said earlier, it is a tough exam. It was more difficult than I anticipated. Well, actually, I don't even know if I want to say that, because so many people say that they felt like they were failing the whole time and they ended up passing. So I did go in thinking like, not really knowing what to expect. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I just didn't really know how I was going to feel. I will say that I never once thought that I was failing. A lot of people literally said, I literally thought I was going to fail. Like, I was like, I am definitely failing this exam, and they ended up passing. That never happened for me. I, was certain questions I was like, I really don't know, and I made my best guess, and luckily, I passed. So obviously I did okay on those questions that I wasn't sure about, but it never really occurred to me like I'm failing. Like I think overall I felt pretty good, but there was definitely some questions where I was like, I just don't really know, that's kind of hard. There's like two really what seemed like right answers. As far as other reviews, I know there are other ones out there that are definitely cheaper. I'm not super familiar with them just because I decided to go with the Jean Inman, but from what I was reading on blogs and things like that, there were a lot of people that used other reviews and did not pass on the first time, and a lot of people will just eventually resort to the Jean Inman and find that it's super helpful. So again, I do think that it is a worthwhile purchase, or however you get your hands on it, it's worthwhile because it really is just so comprehensive and it's just nice to have everything in one place. The other thing I will mention is there's something called, I think it's called RD in a Flash, and they're like flashcards on pretty much everything you would need to know for the exam. I'm not really a flashcard person, like I said. That's just not a tool that I utilize very much during studying, so that just wasn't really like the right way to spend my time. However, some people like swear by these flashcards, so if you are a flashcard person, I would definitely check it out. What I will say though is you don't even have to purchase them. I remember I found them online. Some angel somewhere went through and literally typed in every single RD in a flashcard onto a website. I want to say it was called Quizlet, like Quizlet.com, Quizlet. So you can just go on there and they're free on there. I mean, obviously you don't have them in person, but you can access them, you know, with a smartphone or wherever you are, which is nice. Speaking of, there was an app that I used. I don't remember off the top of my head what the app was, but if it's still out there, I'll link it down below. And that just had some like sample questions on there, and I would just, you know, randomly, if I ever had time, I would just kind of open up the app and I would just go through questions. Again, they were broken down by domain, and for every time that you answered an incorrect question, it would tell you why you got it wrong, which is really nice. Again, I don't remember what it was, but I will link that app down below. So I think that is everything. I hope that you guys found this video helpful. If you have the RD exam on the horizon, I would highly recommend the Jean Inman, and whatever study tools that you utilized in undergrad or throughout your internship that were really helpful to you, use those. You obviously made it this far. You know what works best for you for studying exams. Rely on those tools and you will be just fine. And the most important thing is just to go in with confidence. It's a difficult exam. You know, you really need to be focused and have those critical thinking skills ready. But you've totally got this. I mean, you've already made it this far. You've been studying nutrition and working, volunteering, whatever, interning in the field, working for free for 5 years now, so, or maybe even more. So you have totally got this. You know all this information. You just gotta take a big, deep breath and just tell yourself that it's all up there. You just gotta recall it. So you have totally got this. I have total faith in you. I know I have a lot of you who watch this channel who are in their internships now or entering them soon, or you are currently studying nutrition in undergrad. So wherever you are in the process right now, I hope things are going well, and I wish you the best of luck in your studies or your interning, or whatever you are focusing on right now, whatever part of the journey you are currently in. It is a long journey, but it certainly is rewarding, and by the time you get to the RD exam, you can almost taste it. You are so close, and passing the exam is one of the most just exhilarating, liberating feelings in the world. It is just an amazing feeling, and to all of you out there who are watching this, who are on the path to becoming an RD, I have total faith in you, and I know you are going to make great dietitians someday and just make this field even better than it already is. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did find it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up for me. It would mean so much to me. And of course, if you have yet to subscribe, I would love for you to subscribe and join my little journey here on YouTube. I do have a bunch of other videos about becoming an RD, whether it's applying for the internship or how to become an RD through undergrad and interning and all of that. I have them now in a playlist, so I will link the playlist up above so you can go watch those other videos if you have not already. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I have. If you have yet to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat, definitely do that. I'm on there all the time and would love to be friends with you on there as well. But that is all I have for this video. Thank you guys for sticking around to the end of it, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!
All to do is wait a second, your hands on mine. The clock is ticking, so stay